So let's get into style and tactics for a second. Last night, you held up a sign that said Nikki equals corrupt. It went nuts on the internet. A lot of folks afterwards in the grassroots conservative movement were all Vivek, 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 crushed it. There were older folks making commentary on television that thought it was a little over the top, a little unprofessional was one of the words, amateurish was another. Walk me through just your tactics stylistically. Why that approach? Why, and who do you think you're appealing to when you do that?
So I'll tell you something about me, Sean, for better or worse. I'm not a guy who thinks through how is this going to appeal to one particular base versus not. I'm sharing my honest reactions, and I am being unvarnished with the people about telling them where I actually stand and what my true convictions are. And so my long-run strategy is that that's actually what's going to be rewarded over the long run.
You were a CEO.
I think people are sick and tired of fake politicians.
You were a CEO.
Yes.
You successful companies. If you had done that in a would you
the role's different here.
The role's okay.
The role's
so you would never
different.
do that as a CEO.
No, I mean the role of a CEO is you provide products and services to people who
you
need
have
them
employees
and make a profit while you're at it. Exactly. And you lead those employees in service of that mission. But in this domain, we have a government that has just systematically lied to its people for a long time because politicians have been hiding the ball on what their own convictions are, if they even have convictions. And for me, I'm the opposite of that. I'm not a politician. I have deeply held convictions. Most of them are popular, I think, with the Republican base. Some of them may not be, which they require. My job is to persuade them of those views and bring them along. And I think in many cases in this race, we have been. I'll remind you, I said this on the stage last night. I was against the Ukraine war before it was popular to be against the Ukraine war. We've persuaded many people in this country by revealing the truth of what that is. Well, I'm also against corrupt politicians. I think that Biden is corrupt. I think that Hunter Biden's $5 million bribe from Ukraine is not unrelated to Biden's foreign policy to fork over money to Ukraine. And I think that the fact that Nikki Haley has a military contracting firm and has joined the board of Boeing and used her connections at the UN to go from being broke to having enriching herself is not unrelated to the fact that she's biased towards foreign wars. So I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, man or woman, and I do think that this is one of the dynamics in the mainstream media right now. They play with kid gloves if you have two X chromosomes, especially if you're going to be controlled by the media. Speak honestly there. I don't play with those same kid gloves. And so I'm not going through the calculus of what's this going to do my polls tomorrow. Right. Otherwise, you get a bunch of plastic politicians like the ones that you see in traditional politics. I'm going through what are my convictions, what needs to be said that other people are not saying. Do I have the guts to say it? Yes, I do. So let me go out there and actually tell the people the truth. And I think if you want someone who's going to take on that deep state, if you want somebody who's actually going to end the corruption, not talk about it, it's not going to be done by somebody who's just going to be playing with kid gloves or doing what the polls tell them to do. It's going to be somebody who acts on their own convictions and sees this through. And so what did I demonstrate on the debate stage last night? I'm not going to spare anybody who's on the wrong side of an issue, and I will praise anybody who's on the right side of an issue. I recognized, other candidates, Ron DeSantis in certain instances where he was on the right side, and I'll recognize him where he's on the wrong side of certain issues too. You need somebody who's going to speak the truth. The government has lied to its people. I said this last night. January 6th is looking increasingly like it was an inside job. Look at the videos, at least a part. The government letting people in. Those Capitol
you brought up a lot last night.
The Great Replacement theory is not some made-up right-wing conspiracy theory. You just look at what much of the Democratic Party has said in the last 10 years. It's basically a description of their immigration platform. And I think that that does deserve to be mainstreamed in a way that people can see that for what it is. There's a reason why, Sean, I'm the only person on that stage who's able to say those things. The other people are bound by commitments to the establishment and the people who control them in the Republican Party. And frankly, some of those people aren't even in the Republican Party. You look at Reid Hoffman, one of the top donors to the Democratic causes is George Soros Jr., funding some of those lawsuits, including the efforts to keep Trump off the ballot, we now learn is one of Nikki Haley's top supporters. So again, I don't believe in this. Well, but isn't that red on red? Well, if you have a bunch of hard blue controlling that red from Larry Fink to Reid Hoffman, the people who want to keep Trump off the ballot, funding Nikki Haley, then no, I don't believe in this philosophy that no, you're not supposed to touch that because somebody just puts an R after their name. That's how we will destroy not only this Republican Party, but this country. And it takes somebody who's going to be independent of that classical partisan thinking to say that this is this country we care about. The America First agenda is bigger than black versus white. It is bigger than just classical red versus blue. I think most Americans in this country are with us in this America First movement. There's two America First candidates in this race. That's Trump and myself. But I think right now I can go further with that agenda than anybody because we can reach. You just saw it in that restaurant there, the next generation. People with fresh legs. And that's what it's going to take this movement to the next level.
Last question here. In order to reach that next generation, you have to get out of Iowa. How many tickets out of Iowa are there, and where will you be?
I think there will be a solid 3 to 4 tickets out of Iowa, but I think we're going to shatter expectations.
What's that mean?
Well, what it means is the expectations have been set really low for an outsider candidate like me. I think the polls do not capture many of our supporters.
Christie's not running in Iowa, right? So it's Trump, DeSantis, Haley, and you.
I mean, Christie's on the ballot. He's not going to do well in Iowa.
But he's not even been.
But I think coming out of Iowa and New Hampshire, this is going to be a narrowed field, and I'm definitely going to be part of it. That's what we're going to see.
But so
and that's going to
in Iowa, don't you have to beat somebody?
Yeah.
See, okay. So
I think we're going to deliver here's what I'll tell you, Sean.
Yeah.
We will deliver a major surprise in Iowa. The expectations that are set by the polling and the mainstream media narrative now, we're going to shatter that. And I think that's going to be.
But give me a number. You're a businessman. Just all I want.
Yeah, but I mean,
if you have to do more than 10%.
I'm a businessman, but not some sort of.
But somebody walked into an office and said,
analyst.
"Hey, boss, we're going to have a great quarter."
I think we'll be in the double digits in Iowa handily.
Okay,
handily in Iowa.
All right.
Double digits. No
be
problem
safe.
with that.
Thank you for being with us again.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.